All right, so this is the first testimonial unrelated to IBS. It's generally what I do in my practice, but from working with Gareth started about 6-7 months ago, back in April, it's quite an interesting story as A, we went through a good process together, but B, we've become very good friends, and now he's over visiting me in my house. So I said, if I'm going to feed you, you've got to at least do an interview with me. So just introducing yourself to everybody. What's your name? Where do you come from? What do you do?
I'm Gareth, hi.
Close to being an alcoholic.
Yeah, my name's Gareth. I met Matt back in sort of April through someone at a gym that I was training at. And I work in the wine industry, so we have a lot of socialising, obviously, and a fair amount of drinking. And yeah, that was definitely part of my issue, was drinking a lot and getting calories from that, etc.
So obviously when you got in contact with me back in April, what was the kind of like the catalyst? I know the gym very, very well. Worked with quite a few people from there, and I very much appreciate it. But what made you go, fuck it, I need to actually give Matt a call?
I'd lived abroad in the sort of a couple of years before that, and I'd trained a lot at CrossFit and and doing sort of strength training as well. But I didn't ever I've always been overweight my whole life since I was probably 13.
Gareth is
14.
very, very fucking big as well.
And
How tall are you?
6'3". I trained a lot, and I didn't even really drink for a year, which was weird because I obviously would normally. So I trained more, I drank less, but I still didn't really feel any slimmer. And then I saw a couple of guys I moved back to the UK and saw a couple of guys in the gym that had worked with you, and they were both already fairly fit anyway, I would suggest, but you could just see a visible difference. And I thought, well, I'm back here now, I'm probably going to end up drinking more because I'm back in like Western society, and so I thought I've got to do something, and so I got in touch.
And I think that's definitely something that it's always a question at the beginning whenever I do a consult with anybody. Working in the corporate sector with different bankers and lots of busy individuals, and lawyers are a worse one for it. There's lots of social excuses where, I can't follow a nutrition plan. I can't look into my food because I've got a lot of responsibility with work and I have to do this. Now, you own your own wine company, heretics.com.
Small one. We are the heretics.com. Sorry.
And which is epic, but you launched that around about the same time. Like, you've done obviously all the work for it, but you were launching it whilst we were working together, which I think for some people would be absolutely a no-go, because you're launching a wine company. You've got to go and entertain people, tell how great the wine is. But did it really get in your way?
No, not at all. And I think the thing that it really did was, the nutrition gave me a lot more energy, but it taught me to actually prioritise some of those things, much more so. And that if I prioritise that, it actually helped with all the rest of the things that I needed to do.
Yeah, and like, hangovers are a thing, everybody gets them, but the 80-20 rule, as you're a very big fan of, it worked quite well. But I think it's really interesting because, especially, we're basically similar age, and I think that people can be quite intimidated by another man telling another man what to eat or everything else, and thinking to them, this is this actually going to do anything? I just need to fucking eat less food and move more. That's all I read on social media. Was it anything like that?
No, and that was the shock to me that, I think when I asked some of the guys, I was like, so what's the meal plan? Is it something you could just show me? And they were like, yeah, but it's not just a meal plan, it's much more than that. And I definitely learned that was the case. And I ended up, like, for those people who might be worried that, Matt's just going to say, here you go, eat some lettuce and go running all day. It's not that at all. I've probably never eaten so much food in my life, but, I'm eating all the right things, I'm eating them at the right times, I'm eating them for the right reasons, I'm never hungry. I used to think it was a benefit if I'd missed a meal, whereas now I see that as a negative if I've missed a meal, because it actually stops me from, grazing on crap or whatever, because I've actually eaten properly.
And I think that's for me something, because there's this word, functional practitioner, which I've been explained as sometimes, because I'm not just a nutritionist. No, I'm definitely not an influencer. I'll put that to bed.
But
But
the influence.
and I like the humour behind a lot of things, but nutrition can be quite sensible and quite, straight down the line, and then you can have a laugh about other things a lot more than nutrition. Anyway, but what I find compelling and really interesting with you is like we've done so many different things along the process of knowing each other now. Like your morning practice before we started working, you don't need to tell them exactly what it is right now, but before we were working together, would you have ever thought you would have had a morning routine like you do now?
No,
Why?
because I love my bed. And I could stay in it. If I didn't have the kids with me, I work from home a lot, so I could easily have coffee, have my toasts in bed, get my laptop, do some work in bed, and then before I know it, it's 11 o'clock. I'm still doing my job, but I'm not really getting up and doing anything. And, you taught me a lot about, little things. It was always little differences every single week that built into a pattern, and I still do it now.
And I think that's the interesting bit for me is with functional practicing, with the art of just being a fucking good human.
Yeah.
It's really easy when you think about it, because obviously the art of getting out of bed. I work from home. I get up nice and early. I try and get my heart rate above 160 for around about 20 minutes. I like to get cold in the morning. I like to move because cognitive function is super important. But it's also super important to do with your metabolism and your digestion and everything else. So as a nutritionist, yeah, okay, cool. I tell you what to eat. Easy. But when we can break down actually how you can utilize the different parts of your food to how you feel with your actual energy input to your energy output, would you say that was kind of a bit of a change?
Oh, massively. And I realised once
Try and hold the mic.
once I started I think my voice is loud enough to get it here. It's fine.
It's gonna be like, whoop, whoop, whoop.
And
Trying to be a professional here.
yeah, but yeah, so I would historically have had a couple of slices of sourdough toast, maybe a light lunch, maybe not, depending, and then I'd probably end up eating more crap or not as well in the evening as I should. And I noticed when I started with you that I was eating a lot of eggs in the morning, and I was thinking, crikey, I'm not sure I can eat. And I remember
You're still
speaking to
giving
you.
me that worried look.
Yeah, and I
It's
said,
like-
I don't think I can eat it all. Like, genuinely, I don't think I can. And it was really strange. But then I noticed immediately once I started doing it, my energy levels for the rest of the day were miles better. And my focus on work was miles better.
So I mean, this interview might go along for a little bit more because we've got a bit more to talk about as far as organ meat and your application of that. But first of all, what is now your morning routine for a man that used to lie in bed till 11 o'clock doing fucking work, trying to make up an excuse that I'm still working from home, so I'm okay. What's your routine now, mate?
So I wake up. I mean, particularly if I have the kids with me, I set my alarm to wake up before them, and I walk barefoot down to the beach, which is about a 15-minute walk. Sometimes I take a kettlebell with me. Sometimes I just walk down there and I get in the ocean, so I get nice and cold. Only staying there for a few minutes, whatever, and then I come back. And then I have hot water, lemon, apple cider vinegar, those kind of things, and wake the kids up. But just that cold helps the rest of my day. And then I'll train later in the day.
So it's crazy, right? So a guy used to train 3 or 4 times a week. Now goes out every morning, pretty much every morning.
Yeah.
You still send me these wonderful selfies, which makes my day, to be honest. But looking at the function of the body, right? You've woken up, you get up, you've had a bit of hydration, which our body wants. You've then gone for a walk in your barefoot because you have plantar fasciitis, which then got solved. But now you walk fucking barefoot on the way to getting cold along the stones, which has been great as well. And then you get into cold water, which nobody wants to do, especially in the dark in the winter.
Yeah.
And you've done it in some really shitty days as well.
Yeah.
And then you've walked back from doing that, and then the kids are woken up, you've got the kids ready for school, done all of that. How much more energy do you have on those days compared to the
massive.
days when
And
you're
I
lying in
do
bed doing
notice-
work until 11 o'clock?
Yeah, I mean, I do notice as well, because occasionally, it's 50-mile-an-hour winds, and the waves are like, bashing, and I think actually I'm not going to do it today. But I notice that there's not really like a start point to my day, and it just kind of melds in and doesn't quite really get off to a sort of flying start. And I think getting in the water definitely provides that help.
And it's really cool because obviously the camaraderie we had during the process and now, but during the process is very much like understanding the adherence is getting you the necessary outcome, not trying to cheat with coffee or with fucking energy drinks or whatever hunt of like, you know, dopamine you're looking for, chocolate in the morning, whatever it is. Like, and this is the problem I feel that we've got in society now, where people are telling you to eat less, move more, when actually, yes, you should move more, but should you be going to the gym? You don't even fucking train in the gym anymore.
I haven't trained in the gym since July,
And
it's now January.
and you do outdoor training because you're a big outdoorsy guy, because we had that discussion, like what sort of enjoyment do you get from your training and things like that. And again, I think this is really kind of something that every man should really listen to, because we're not trying to reinvent the wheel, we're just trying to talk about simple science and making you apply them for certain things, because I haven't got a like a cardboard cutout of what to do.
No.
I talk to people and I'd catch up with you weekly, individually, not as part of a group and all this bollocks.
Yeah.
Work with you to figure out how it's going to fit around the kids, how it's going to fit around work, how it's going to fit around your actual own understanding of application, which is great, because seeing you with that energy in the morning is amazing. Now, we go through 6 to 7 weeks of great work. You lose a shit ton of weight. It was quite compelling how quickly
Yeah, I
you
lost 8 inches off my waist. I think it was literally every week I'd measure, and it was another inch, another inch.
And
another inch.
you just weren't fat though, because you're so tall you couldn't see.
Yeah.
But it was just the inflammation.
Yeah.
And when you learned that it was more inflammation than just fat cells and just you being fat and lazy, that makes it a lot easier to kind of get the inflammation down. But then we go the next level, and I mention, have you ever eaten some organs before? How was that?
Yeah. The concept of eating heart, I mean, it wasn't new to me, but it wasn't something that I necessarily relished.
Because you've got a very refined palate. I mean, as far as palates
To a
go.
point, yeah, you know, and I appreciate good food, and I've eaten lots of different food and travelled a lot, etc. But I wasn't necessarily thinking about eating heart. But yes, I did, and I do, and I still do. And I noticed, because it's sometimes in the UK it can be a bit hard to get, so I ended up having to buy it online because the local butcher. Anyway, it's a boring story, but but got it, and I had about a week, I think, maybe even 10 days, where I just couldn't get it, and I noticed my energy levels had gone down, and I remember saying to you, and I said, I haven't had the heart, and you said, yeah, that's probably it, and literally, you know, got the heart, carried on having it again, and it's a massive spike of energy for me in a really good way, sustained energy.
And I don't think it's the same for everybody. And again, by working with people individually, that's where we look at the problem. We try to understand what parts would play good for each person. And because you are so well travelled, that understanding of that food was never going to be a problem. You trying it and being, understanding wine and the different flavour profiles of that will obviously make you understand a piece of food. But when you came over here and I let you try a bit of my liver, what was your thought?
Yeah, it was incredible. That was some of the best liver I'd ever, and I'm not a huge fan of liver, but you gave me a piece of it just raw. I ate it. It was lovely.
And again, thanks to Liver King, I think we all get it's just bollocks, isn't it? It's just so annoying, because these nutrient-dense foods, which I've been using with people for years, get frowned upon and get laughed about now because of social media and stuff. But these noticeable changes for you, if I were to give you a multivitamin, do you think you would feel as good?
No, not at all. No, and I used to take protein powders. I used to eat, protein bars, because I fell for the marketing. I don't consider myself stupid, but I fell for the marketing of, it's a protein bar, it's got that in it. The fact that it's probably like a dressed up Mars bar or something, I still thought, that's probably fine, and I'd have one of those a day. I'd have a protein shake every day, and I haven't had any of those things since I started working with you.
And that's the other thing, we're not sort of crazy diets of, you're not carnivore, you're not keto, you're not a bodybuilder. We're just figuring out with you, with your digestion and making sure you sleep well and everything else. Just finally, with the kids. So what I love is the inspiration that you've been for your boy in the way of his training, or the way that you've because of something that you're doing. It's not necessarily you told him to do it,
No,
but
they
you're an
both
inspiration
just,
now
yeah, both
to
just
see.
sort of took it on. Yeah, I mean, they both sort of decided they wanted to go to the gym, and I've always said I'm very happy every time you go to the gym, you pay for it, and I'll pay you back, and so I never want that to be a barrier. But they now just get more and more into it, and my son particularly, he's sort of looking for me for my food, and we all eat basically the same stuff at home, and yeah, they're both really interested in it. And I think they're both growing up, and I can see my son particularly is just 16-year-old boy, so he's getting broader, he's getting bigger, which is what a lot of 16-year-old boys want to do, and hopefully I'm setting both of them up for life with great nutrition and great examples of how to live, how to move, and thanks to you.
Well, I mean, thanks to you, thanks to us, because obviously the application there, but by catching up in that like quite concentrated place at the beginning, would you say that you've been a bit more productive at work?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Your relationship with your kids has kind of gone more into, because you're telling me about the granola and the ice cream in the evening, or that you're getting in the evening when you have your son. So nice, but then also having confidence with the amount of eggs you're going to feed him go, oh, we're not going to raise his cholesterol so high he's going to die.
Yeah.
Understanding salt is electrolytes and hydration, understanding the science behind things. You've got that forever now.
Yeah.
And I think that's a barrier for a lot of people to think calories in and calories out. We don't talk about fucking calories ever.
I don't even think about calories.
Nutrient density, understanding, and the application, and that was kind of it, right?
Absolutely, yeah. It's life changing, and I'll never not do it. That's the thing. So, and it's not. I don't see it as a. It's not encumbering on my life. Like, it's not a problem at all. It's just how I live, and it's how I always will do. It's not like I really think, oh, I'd love to go back and have a Snickers bar or whatever. Like, I don't desire it. I don't want it. It's fine, and I'm not preachy about it. But I just want to eat proper things for the right reasons. And I love my food. It's great.
And then since coming over here as well, it's cool because you're just full of beans, and we've been out in the water, we've trained in the gym, we've done some rowing and stuff like that, and yeah, it's just fucking wicked to see. So thank you so much for doing the interview, mate. And let's go and have some dinner.
Nice one. Thanks a lot.